Hey guys, it's Aretha with another quick note from the barn. Last time we were together, we talked about how to properly put a Western saddle on your horse, and today I thought we would go ahead and talk about bridling. Just as when you saddle your horse, you're going to do it from the left, same thing with the bridle. You're going to go ahead and make sure that you're at your horse's left shoulder before you begin. And what I like to do is I like to have my bridle all set up so that it's, it's facing the correct way, my reins aren't a big jumble, and I've got it pretty much hanging the way that it's going to go over his head, and I'll just rest that in my right arm. My horse Casey here happens to be cross-tied at the moment, but I want to talk to you about a quick safety note when you're going to bridle a horse who's actually at a hitching post. If your horse is hard tied to the hitching rail, what I want you to do before you even take his halter off of his head is I want you to untie the slip knot that your horse is connected with. And the reason that I want you to do that is that, God forbid, if your horse did pull back or raise his head really high when you were going to bridle him and then he felt the end of that, he's kind of only half caught, he could fall down. You just don't really have a good hold on him, and I want him to have the freedom of the movement of his head. So what I do if I'm hard tied is I'll just go ahead and undo that slip knot, and I'll wrap my rope twice over the hitching rail. That way if my horse backed up, he's got that freedom and he's not going to feel a hard stop, but also he's not going to get caught up in the rope. Okay, so on the cross ties, what I do is I'm just going to unclip my halter, This one happens to have the grooming cheek piece that opens, and I really like that. So if you've got a halter like that, just open the cheek piece. You're going to slide the halter forward over your horse's ears, lower it, let it come off of his muzzle, and then rest it right behind his ears. What you don't want to do is you don't want to have your halter way down here on his neck. It's dangerous and it's not really going to stop him, okay? So we'll rest it right up here behind his ears, and now I've already got my bridle ready. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the crown piece of my bridle, have it here in front of my horse, and then I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to reach up between my horse's ears. He's quite a tall boy, but he's pretty good about this. I'm going to reach up between his ears and hand myself the crown piece. Then I'm going to take the bit, and if you happen to have a snaffle bit, with your left hand, you're going to hold that snaffle bit open. Sometimes they'll fold in half on themselves. You're going to hold it open so that it's nice and flat and your horse can just open his mouth. Okay, as your horse opens his mouth to receive the bit, your right hand is going to raise it up. Now the bit is sitting where it should be in his mouth, okay? Now this is really important. What you want to do when you're pushing your horse's ears through the bridle, you're going to switch hands, and you're going to take your right hand at the base of your horse's right ear, bend it forward and bring your bridle around, and then you're going to come to the left ear and bend the entire ear nice and flat and forward and bring the bridle around there, okay? Now, essentially my horse is caught. He doesn't need his halter anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and unbuckle this. That'll be there when I need it when I come back. And then what I like to do, no matter what kind of bridle I'm putting on, English bridle, you could have a cavesson. This bridle doesn't have a cavesson, but what I like to do next is I'm going to step directly in front of my horse, and as you can see, things are not lined up perfectly. So I'm going to make sure that the brow band is sitting nice and even, that his bit is resting in his mouth nice and even, and also that it's not too high or too low. Okay, I'll get more into bits and bitting in another video. One thing that I will say real quickly though is that a lot of times you will hear, I will say trainers because they are trainers, but a lot of times you'll hear people say your bit should have 1 or 2 wrinkles. I don't believe in that. I believe that your bit should just touch the corners of your horse's mouth, regardless of what kind of bit it is and what kind of horse you're riding. I don't care if it's a jumper or a trail horse. When you have wrinkles in your horse's mouth, when you release the pressure of the reins, that pressure never goes away for the horse, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it at that, and we'll pick that up another time. Okay, so then since I don't have a cavesson and I don't have to worry about buckling that underneath his underneath his chin here, I'm just gonna come around with the throat latch and buckle that. And your throat latch never goes on tight. Your throat latch is just kind of an emergency piece of equipment. As it was explained to me years ago, if my cheek piece broke, my throat latch would at least keep the bridle over his ears. Okay, so it's nice and loose. I can easily fit my whole hand in there. So I'm going to go ahead and buckle that up. And then I'm going to check and make sure, since this is a leverage bit or a curb bit, I'm going to make sure that my curb chain is loose enough that it hangs and doesn't bother him until we're ready to use it, but that if I pull back on it, it engages right away, which it does. So I hope that's helpful. You guys let me know if you'd like to see me bridle a horse with an English bridle. I'm happy to do it. Have a great day and happy trails.